Hey, good morning, bro.
Hi, good morning, Pastor David, and good morning, everybody out there.
Hey, yeah, we're glad that you're with us. Sorry about some of the technical difficulties earlier, but I think we're on to a solution. You know, there's certain things that happen, and we never know when they're going to happen, and so then we have to turn off the whole system here at church, including out in the office. So then we have to reboot the computer and everything, and so hopefully everything is crystal clear now. Can you hear me? If you can, raise your hand. Shoot. Woohoo! We have one person here with us. Is she going to shout woohoo?
Oh, yes.
That's all right, yeah. Then
yes.
we have our production
interaction, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because Faith Formation is either live and in person or via live streaming. So we're glad everybody's here today. So we've got a lot of things planned for you this morning. Not just here in Faith Formation, but also in our worship hour. So yeah, what's on your mind today, Brooke?
Well, I was just thinking, some people are done with school. I'm not really done with school yet because I'm teaching a class at Red Lion, actually, for 9 days. I have 2 weeks left. And anyway.
So you're not done with school?
No, but this class is so fun.
Oh, good. You know what? Sometimes school can be fun.
It is so fun. But anyway, so this week, and it's students I've never met. They're not from my school. They're from all over the Red Lion school.
Okay, cool.
So they're students I've never met. And I have some sixth graders, they're all girls, in the group. I have younger kids too, but these sixth grade girls, we were talking this week about how they're going to the junior high next year.
Whoa, that's a big deal. When you change from being an elementary and you have to go to the next school, and usually junior high and senior high schools are much bigger.
Oh, oh my gosh, we're going to get lost. That building is huge. You know, it's so much bigger than Maisie Gable or Pleasant View or North Hopewell or wherever these students are from. We're going to get lost. We're not going to know where to go. And that was like this.
Big fear.
Their fear, yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? It's not just the size of the building or the size of the student body that can induce fear. When you you're the youngest in the youngest class going into a new school, everybody's like bigger, physically bigger. Like sometimes, unless there's a child that's unusually large, but most of the time, the kids, you go in, let's say it's 7th grade, and there's 8th graders there, and some of those are big.
Well, I think that too, because I'm in an elementary school, and the kindergartners are like this, and some of those 6th graders are as tall as me.
Brooke, I remember when I went to school and rode on a school bus when I was in kindergarten, okay? And where I went to school, we didn't have a separate, we all went to the same building, kindergarten through 12th grade.
Oh my goodness.
There was just half of the school was for the K through 6, and the other half was for junior high and high school. But when we went to school, we all rode the same buses. Can you imagine getting on kindergarten? And there's these huge kids. I mean, like 11th graders and 10th graders. And we're like, oh, this is kind of scary.
Oh, that reminds me, David.
What?
Of a story. We actually talked about this a little bit last week in Faith Formation.
What?
About David and Goliath.
Oh, that's right. We did, because we were talking about how David was chosen to be the king, but we watched a little video that was starting to go into the story.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that story, but we talked about things that led up to that. So
today, we're going to talk about David and Goliath?
Yeah, because like you looked up there, that's what I imagined that David might have. Because Goliath was huge.
Well, yeah, the Bible tells us he was really big. I mean, we don't know exactly how big, but he was
tall and big.
But it wasn't just that he was big. He had like a Kevlar vest, like a suit of armor.
Yeah.
He was protected, so he was huge. Plus, he had like armor or like heavy leather or whatever it is that they used to protect themselves back in that day.
Did he have a lot of weapons kind of stuff too of the day?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he had things that would hurt people. So he was scary. He was big and scary.
But David wasn't very tall.
No. Well, last week we talked about David was the youngest of his brothers, and when Samuel the prophet came to pick the next king of Israel, he asked Jesse, the father of all these boys, to have the boys come in. And the first one came, his name is Eliab, and he was big, and he was handsome, and he looked muscular, and his dad and Samuel thought for sure this was the one that God would choose, but no,
No.
God passed over all of them and then chose
Chose
David, who is the youngest of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, he's kind of smaller and younger. So but compared with Goliath, it was really a big contrast.
Yeah, but nobody wanted to fight Goliath, did they?
No, they were all scared of him, including his big brother Eliab. He was scared of him too.
Well, so then how did David fight him?
Well, David had faith, and we want to talk about the kind of faith, the different things that David did that exhibited his faith, because there's different words that you kids have heard before, and if you haven't heard them, you will soon hear them. You're going to hear them today, that describe different ways that we have faith. In fact, Brooke,
What?
there's 5 smooth stones right here.
There are 5 smooth stones,
They're all kind of different, but
but they're smooth. And isn't this what David used when he went to fight Goliath?
yeah, that's amazing.
He just like picked them up along the way or something, didn't he?
Goliath had these big weapons to hurt people, and whether they were clubs or bows and arrows and all this stuff. But David had five smooth stones. 5 smooth stones.
Yep.
Yeah, he picked them out of it might have been a stream or riverbed. It could have been filled with water, but chances are it's kind of desert-like in that area. It might not have had water in it at that point.
So you're telling me like a stone this size was, I guess he used a slingshot, right?
Well, yeah, that's what the
Yeah.
Bible tells us. And but I don't think he ended up using all of them.
No, but like this was probably the biggest here. So, but of stone, like maybe not much bigger than this.
Yeah, probably not.
Um,
Because the
Kill
slingshot
Goliath?
was like a pocket of leather
right,
with like leather
So-
ties on it.
right. So so this was big enough to kill Goliath.
Yeah, it's kind of That's what happened. It was so let's talk about these stones.
Okay.
So this first stone, let's take a little one, this little white one. This first stone represents courage.
Well, he had to have a lot of courage to go
Well,
up against
yeah.
Goliath.
Yeah, this
He
stone.
wasn't afraid to face him, evidently.
Yeah, like in the picture, this young, I think it's a young boy, but it could be a young girl, is on like a high ropes
Yes.
course.
Oh, I love high ropes courses.
But it's scary when you do that. And you have to have courage to kind of take the first step and keep going. And that's what David was not afraid of Goliath. Goliath was the enemy. And David said, he told the king was worried because none of his warriors would go and fight this Goliath, this big guy. And King David said David told the king, don't worry about a thing. I'll go fight this Philistine. That was courage.
That was courage.
Yeah.
But you know kind of what else it was?
I don't know. What was it?
This stone could represent confidence.
I'm not quite sure what you mean.
Well, as a shepherd, David protected the sheep from the wild animals. So, that's kind of scary too when you have to go up against a wild animal.
Just like the girl in this picture knows the answer, and so she's raised her hand along with the other, and you could tell that they're like, yeah, we know, we've got confidence.
Yeah, so he knew kind of what to do. So he was kind of sure of himself in that.
That's amazing because he had faced wild animals before protecting his dad's sheep. That's amazing.
So he knew, he was confident that God would be with him as he faced this challenge.
That is so cool. Well, but that's just 2 of the stones.
Yep.
Let's put them right here.
Okay.
We still have 3
We still
more
have 3 more.
stones. So what do you think they could represent?
Well, let's think. One could represent, again, kind of related to this,
Well, what's this?
This was confidence.
Oh, confidence, yes.
And this was courage.
Oh, yeah. I think I know what you mean. I think if it's close to confidence, those kids in the school picture, why were they confident? Because they had prepared.
Yes.
They had done their homework.
Yes.
They had studied. They had learned. They had done their work well so they could raise their hand. So then the third stone is preparation. But, well, look at this picture, kids. This is a different kind of preparation. You know, when you're hungry, sometimes food isn't ready.
Right.
And what do you have to do to get the food ready? It's called preparation or prepare. You have to prepare the food. So moms and dads sometimes will, and sometimes it may be as simple as taking the box of macaroni and cheese and, you know, cooking up the macaroni and then adding the flavor packet. But then there's other times like that picture where they were cutting up all kinds of different things to like make a salad or different things. Yeah, preparation. And so David prepared. He didn't face the giant unprepared. He did, based on his confidence that God had been with him when he faced these lions and bears, he did the same thing. So he went to the stream and he pulled out 5 smooth stones. And so he prepared himself. Yeah, he prepared himself the way that he knew God could help him. That's pretty amazing.
So we have courage and confidence and preparation.
Yep.
The other thing, one of the other things that he said is trust.
What do you mean?
Well, because David went into this the underdog because he was so small and Goliath.
Oh,
and he didn't have as much as
he didn't have any
Goliath
armor.
did. No. He had his slingshot and these stones.
Wow.
You know. So
and all the other warriors, all the other soldiers, all the other men that were going to fight for the king were afraid, and they weren't going up to face him. Just David, little David, with his slingshot and 5 stones.
But he trusted that God was going to be with him.
That's amazing.
Yeah, like Goliath was shouting at David and cursing at David and was ready to kill him.
Oh, he was angry.
He was angry.
He's like, you're sending me this little scrawny thing to fight? You people are losers.
Yeah, it's probably even worse than that. But
well, yeah, I'm sure he said things that were mean and nasty.
So David said, "You come to me with a sword and a spear, but I come to you in the name of the Lord God Almighty."
Ooh, wow, that could give me goosebumps. You know, if we could face all of the giants in our life, like going to a new school, taking new classes or courses, doing a high ropes course, you know, starting a new sport in gym.
What's this picture? Oh, they're doing the trust fall. I love trust falls.
Look at that, kids. There is a group of kids, and look at that one kid is standing out. He's up on a high spot, like a platform, and he's not looking the way he's falling.
Nope, he doesn't know. He
can't catch him. He's got to see how his arms are bent up around. He has to trust that all those other kids are going to catch him. Wow. And that's what David did when he went in front of Goliath with his slingshot and his 5 smooth stones. He was trusting that God was going to be with him.
Yeah, God wasn't going to let him fall like that.
Yeah, that is so cool. Well, we have 1 stone left, Brooke. 1 stone. So what on earth could this stone represent?
Okay. So, if you have courage and courage and confidence, and you're prepared and you're trusting in the Lord,
wow,
I think that leads up to success.
Wow. So this stone represents the conclusion of all these things. Like when we have courage, we have confidence, we prepare, and we trust, then it ends in success.
Yeah, what do you think?
Well, and part of success is recognizing that the battle's God's, not ours. That's what David said. You know, so that when you're facing a new and difficult situation and we have the fears, we have to trust and believe that it's not our battle, it's that God is with us. And so that will lead to success. There's a picture here, and this is kind of like from school. And look at those kids. Oh, it looks like there's one girl with her mother, and she has done some math problems, and I bet she came up with all the right answers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, math problems, just by definition, a math problem can be a problem to be solved in math.
Yes.
Sometimes I didn't like math problems growing
Didn't
up.
you?
No, because sometimes they were hard.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what else is hard sometimes?
What's that?
Spelling.
Yeah, I mean, because we all have different aptitudes,
We have
different strengths.
aptitudes. Yes.
Different strengths.
Because did you notice that success was not spelled properly up there?
Oh no, I see that now.
I don't want anyone to think that's how to spell
Wow,
success.
I don't know who prepared that slide this morning, but whoever they were, either they didn't properly know how to spell the word, or could it be they were in a hurry?
I was just going to say they were in a hurry. They didn't prepare beforehand or enough time. I shouldn't say beforehand, enough time, because sometimes to prepare it takes longer than we think.
You're right, yeah. That person might not have left quite enough time to prepare to have a complete level of success. Success in spelling the word success.
S-U-C-C-E-S-S. That's the way you spell success.
Woo, woo. That sounds like a cheer at a basketball game.
I could probably put some motions to that.
Cool. That is so cool. So that fifth stone represents the success that David had because he had all those other things. So then when he faced his Goliath, in this case it was a man that wanted to rip his arms and his head off and do bad things to him, but he had success. Wow. And so then Goliath falls. Well, he takes the sling and he throws it, and the stone hits him, Goliath, at the right spot that totally disables him.
The first time.
Wow. It's interesting. It's kind of a gross story, but it's also kind of, it helps us to think about the giants that we face.
Yes. And I think sometimes the stories seem exaggerated, maybe to get a point. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, like, because I think the Bible says Goliath was 9 feet tall. Now, 9 feet tall in this sanctuary, I don't know if our projectionists can get a big wide shot. I dare say that 9 feet would be from us to the light fixture. That's probably about 9 feet high. That would be huge. That would be scary.
that would be.
Let's see. Uh-oh. I pulled my microphone off. Let's see. All right. I'm going to go and stand under that. Well, no, that might be more like 12, because I'm just under 6 foot, and that's about twice as tall. So anyway, 9 foot would be maybe halfway up this picture of the screen. That would be a really big man. That would be scary.
9 foot, maybe. Would this be 9 feet?
Where are you going, Brooke?
To the column.
Oh, yeah, I bet to the top. So it would be like that capital on the column.
Yeah, I can't reach that
Yeah,
far, but
this section here, I think they call it a capital, could be like the person's head. Ooh, that'd be scary if there was somebody that big.
Yeah.
And they're coming after you?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know.
No.
I don't know, Brooke.
I don't know.
But yeah, so was Goliath exactly 9 foot tall? It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
He was like big and scary.
Yeah. And there's just other things in life, that problems and stuff that we have that are big and scary.
Yeah. And sometimes
And worries and,
going to a new
fears.
school, maybe just getting along with brothers and sisters. Like maybe you're the youngest and you have an older sister or 2 older sisters or a brother or whatever, and maybe sometimes they kind of are They get mad at you, and it can be kind of scary. Please don't get a slingshot out.
No.
Okay? No. That's not what we're telling you to do, kids. But we're telling you to have courage and confidence, to be prepared to, what was the fourth one?
Trust.
Trust, that's it. To trust that God is with you all the time. Even when you get into a little fuss with your siblings, even when you go to a new school, even when your family encounters some kinds of big problems. You know what, kids? You could help your parents by saying, remember, Mom, remember, Dad, we need to trust God.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could actually inspire your whole family to kind of do like that trust, what's it called?
Trust fall.
Trust fall. I was going to say trust drop, but a trust fall makes, so that you could inspire your family to trust in God in that moment. So you kids have amazing power. So just because you're little, just because you're young, just because you're a kid, don't let anybody say that you can't be filled with faith and that you can't change the outcome of something that's happening in your life or in your family's life.
Right.
That's an amazing lesson. 5 smooth stones he picked out of the river. And you told us all these things, Brooke. That's amazing.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll tell you, kids, the Bible is filled with a lot of neat and interesting stories that help us to grow and to become God's kids.
God's kids.
God's kids.
God's kids.
God's kids. What do you know about God's kids, Brooke?
Well, I know that on, I think they're both the last Sunday, which is next Sunday in June, and July.
The 11th in July.
Oh, is it the 11th in
Yeah.
July? Why did I think it was the last
Yeah.
one? And the 11th in July.
So this coming Sunday
and the 11th of July, we are going to have, during the worship hour, God's kids. But I will say God's kids, half of God's kids, because God's kids, so the 3rd through 5th graders are invited to participate in something during the worship with Lisa Moose.
All right. Okay.
Right?
Ms. Moose?
And Allison Green, right?
Yes.
And we're going to have children's church that day too.
Yeah, so that the younger kids will go out to children's church. They'll start in worship with parents, and they'll go out to children's church. The 3rd through 5th graders, or the ones that have just completed 3rd through 5th, right? They're going into 4th through 6th. Is that how it is?
Well, I don't know.
Well, anyway, 3rd through 5th grade is whatever.
I would
you
say
make
no.
it the choice, kid.
Going into 3rd through 5th, because 6th graders would be with the older.
Okay, so they need. So anyway, plan to come to church next Sunday. Older God's kids, and then the younger ones will go to children's church after the children's message in church. That's exciting.
So that's next Sunday, which is the 27th
of June,
and July 11th.
July 11th. So then we can be God's kids. All right. Hey, so I guess it's time for us to say our prayer.
It is.
What's the name of it again? I forget.
It's called the Lord's Prayer.
Oh, the Lord's Prayer. Kids, I knew you knew that, but sometimes I forget things. I didn't. Oh, did I really forget it?
I don't think so. Although, you know, when you get our age, sometimes we do forget the easiest things.
I have forgotten the words to the Lord's Prayer sometimes when I'm in front of a lot of people, let's say at a funeral or something, and the family wanted the Lord's Prayer recited, and sometimes I've had it go blank in my mind.
I know.
And that's kind of scary.
I'm that way with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, I used to be that way with the Scout Oath and Pledge all the time.
Yeah, especially when you're by yourself.
Yeah, and everybody's looking at you.
Yeah, you're doing it by yourself.
But we can do
we do it together.
The Lord's Prayer, okay.
Yeah.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever.
Amen. Deliver us from evil. That is probably what
the
David
giant.
said when he was going to face Goliath.
True.
Deliver me from this evil man. Wow.
True.
That prayer really fits with all situations
Oh my
we
gosh,
talk
yeah,
about.
absolutely.
Hey kids, it's been great, and adults, to have you with us today, and we hope you have a wonderful Father's Day, and we've got an interesting service planned for church in
Okay,
just a
looking
few
forward
minutes.
to it.
All right.
All right, see ya.
See you later. See you in person next week, God's kids.